He sat in the dimly lit cafe, his hands wrapped tightly around a steaming cup of coffee, but it wasn't the warmth he was after, it was answers. How much can you really trust the person you're about to marry? That question kept circling his mind like a storm. His name was Daniel, a man who had worked his way up from nothing to finally having a stable life, a loving partner, or so he thought, and the dream of building a family. But deep inside, a whisper of doubt wouldn't let him sleep at night. And so, he decided to test his fiancée, not out of cruelty, but out of fear that maybe, just maybe, he had given his heart to the wrong person. Friends, before I take you deep into this unforgettable story, I want to remind you, if stories of love, heartbreak, and lessons that change lives touch your heart, please take a second to like this video and subscribe. Your support helps us share more life-changing stories just like this one. Now, let me tell you what Daniel saw when he set his plan in motion. Daniel and Emily had been engaged for 6 months. She was beautiful, graceful, and carried herself with the kind of warmth that drew people in. But sometimes, little things bothered Daniel, how she looked at expensive jewelry, how she lit up when talking about money, and how she seemed disappointed whenever Daniel mentioned saving rather than spending. He tried to brush it off as ordinary desires, but the thought gnawed at him. Was Emily in love with him, or with the life he could provide? So, Daniel crafted a test. He called Emily one evening and told her, with a heavy voice, that he had lost his job. He explained that the company had downsized, that his savings would now only last a while, and that he would have to live more simply until he found work again. He didn't lose his job, this was the test, but he needed to see her reaction. At first, Emily seemed supportive, but her words carried a tremble. "Don't worry, Daniel, we'll figure something out," she said, but her eyes betrayed her. Over the next week, Daniel noticed changes. Emily stopped talking about their wedding plans, grew cold when he mentioned financial struggles, and spent more time out with her friends. But the true test came when Daniel's friend, posing as a wealthy businessman, approached Emily one afternoon at a restaurant where Daniel had secretly arranged for her to be. Emily smiled at the man with an ease that cut Daniel like a knife. She laughed, leaned closer, and when the man casually dropped hints about his wealth, Emily's eyes glowed in a way Daniel had never seen before. She confessed to the stranger that she wasn't sure her fiancé was the right one for her, and that, a woman deserves a man who can give her the world. Daniel sat at the corner of the restaurant, hidden, his heart crumbling with every word. The woman he had trusted with his future, his love, his family dreams, had just sold him out for the idea of security. He felt his throat tighten, tears burning at the back of his eyes, but more than pain, he felt clarity. She wasn't the one. When Emily returned home that evening, Daniel confronted her. "Emily," he said, voice calm but trembling, "I need to know something. Are you with me for love, or for what I can give you?" Emily laughed nervously, brushing it off. But Daniel's next words froze her blood. "I saw you today. At the restaurant. I heard everything." Her face went pale, then defensive. "Daniel, you set me up. How could you not trust me?" But Daniel only shook his head. "Trust isn't tested, it's proven in silence, in actions. You've proven enough." He picked up the engagement ring, placed it in her hand, and with a heavy heart, whispered, "Leave." Emily stormed out, her face twisted with anger and fear. Daniel collapsed onto the couch, burying his face in his hands. He had lost someone he thought was his forever, but in truth, he had been saved. Saved from a lifetime of betrayal disguised as love. Weeks passed. The pain didn't vanish overnight, but Daniel slowly found peace. He focused on his work, his passions, and surrounded himself with people who truly cared. And in that time, he realized something powerful. Sometimes life takes people away not to hurt us, but to protect us from the wrong path. And then, life surprised him again. Months later, while volunteering at a community center, Daniel met Sarah, a young teacher who gave her time selflessly to help underprivileged children. She wasn't dressed in designer clothes, nor did she care for wealth or status. She cared about hearts, about people, about making a difference. Slowly, Daniel opened up again, and for the first time, he felt what genuine love meant. Love without conditions. This story, friends, isn't just about betrayal, it's about learning that true love doesn't demand riches, it doesn't measure worth in money, and it doesn't falter when storms come. It's about finding someone who sees you for you, not for what you can provide. So if you've ever doubted your worth, remember, you deserve love that stands firm when the world shakes. Never settle for someone who loves only your sunshine, wait for the one who will hold your hand in the rain. And if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Every click helps us share more stories that remind us of what truly matters in life: honesty, loyalty, and love that lasts. Because in the end, Daniel's heartbreak wasn't the end of his story, it was the beginning of something far greater. And maybe, just maybe, your new beginning is waiting too.